Ladies and gentlemen, it is often said that the measure of a man lies not in his strength, but in his understanding. And nowhere is this more profoundly evident than in how he interacts with the women in his life. Today we reflect on wisdom, on the things that a smart man should never do when walking alongside a woman, whether as a partner, a friend, or an ally. First and foremost, respect her individuality. A woman is not an extension of anyone. She is her own universe, vast and mysterious, with dreams and ambitions that deserve acknowledgement. It is neither noble nor wise to diminish her independence or attempt to control her course. Instead, a smart man understands that respect is the cornerstone of connection. Secondly, beware of emotional manipulation. To toy with another's heart for the sake of power or advantage is the act of a fool, not a man of substance. The heart is a fragile thing. Treasure it. If you truly care, be authentic, and if you don't, let her go with dignity. Then there is the matter of promises. Words are weighty, and when they are carelessly offered, they shatter trust like fragile glass. A man of integrity keeps his word. He does not paint dreams he cannot realize, nor offer security he cannot provide. Overpromising and underdelivering is the quickest way to erode trust. Moreover, never dismiss her dreams or feelings. To belittle someone's aspirations is to dim the light within them. Listen, truly listen, to what she values, to the passions that drive her. Stand beside her, not above her. It is in support, not in superiority, that true companionship is found. And finally, do not neglect communication. Silence may be golden in many things, but in relationships it is a slow and corrosive poison. Speak your truth, hear hers, and work together through challenges. Relationships falter when the bridges of communication crumble. Now, as I say these words, I am not preaching perfection, for none of us are immune to error. But wisdom, my friends, lies in reflection and growth. A smart man chooses his actions with care, not because he is compelled to, but because he recognizes the value of what he might lose otherwise. Let us walk this path with mindfulness and respect, remembering that the measure of our character is reflected in how we treat those who trust us. Respecting a woman's individuality means acknowledging her as a complete, multifaceted human being, distinct from anyone else, with her own thoughts, dreams, and experiences. It's about understanding that she is not an accessory to your life, nor a figure defined solely by her relationship to you. She is, above all, her own person, and the essence of any meaningful relationship lies in honoring that fact. Too often, people fall into the trap of projecting their own desires, expectations, or ideals onto someone else, attempting to mold them into a version that fits their narrative. This is not respect, it is control. To truly respect a woman's individuality, a man must first abandon the notion that his perspective is the standard by which her life should be measured. Her choices, values, and opinions are hers alone, and they do not need to align with his for her to be valid or worthy of esteem. Respecting individuality begins with active listening. It means being genuinely curious about her thoughts and feelings, not just hearing her words but truly understanding them. Ask questions, seek clarity, and never assume you know better than she does about her own experiences. This kind of respect fosters a deeper connection, built on the understanding that her perspective enriches your own. When you approach her with a mindset of curiosity and humility, you create a space where she feels seen and valued. It also involves supporting her autonomy. She has the right to make her own decisions, even if you don't agree with them. Respecting her individuality means resisting the urge to impose your will or to believe that you know what's best for her. It requires trust. Trust in her judgment, trust in her ability to navigate her own life, and trust that she will make the choices that are right for her. This doesn't mean you can't offer advice or share your thoughts, but it does mean that your role is to support, not to dictate. A woman's individuality is also reflected in her passions and pursuits. She may have goals and dreams that differ from yours, or perhaps even challenge your worldview. Embrace this diversity. Instead of trying to redirect her energy towards something more aligned with your own interests, encourage her to follow her path. Celebrate her successes, no matter how small they might seem to you, and be there to uplift her when she stumbles. True respect is unconditional. It is not contingent on whether her achievements benefit you or fit into your plans. Moreover, respecting individuality means avoiding comparisons. Never reduce her to a reflection of someone else, a family member, an ex-partner, or even an idealized version of who you think she should be. She is unique, shaped by her own journey, and it is unfair to measure her against anyone else. Comparisons diminish her identity and can create unnecessary insecurities or resentments. Instead, focus on who she is, appreciating her for the qualities that make her distinct. It is equally important to recognize her need for space and independence. Relationships thrive when both partners retain their sense of self. Give her the freedom to pursue her interests, spend time with her friends, and nurture her passions outside of the relationship. Clinging too tightly or demanding constant validation from her erodes trust and demonstrates a lack of respect for her autonomy. Trust that her individuality does not threaten the bond you share. Rather, it strengthens it by allowing her to bring her full, authentic self into the relationship. Respecting a woman's individuality also involves being mindful of the way societal expectations and stereotypes can influence interactions. Acknowledge and challenge your own biases. Recognize that women, like men, are not monolithic. They have diverse personalities, talents, and aspirations. Avoid placing her in a box based on preconceived notions about her gender, and instead approach her as a unique individual. Lastly, respect means embracing the possibility of growth and change. People evolve over time, and respecting her individuality includes allowing her the space to grow in ways that may surprise or even challenge you. Be adaptable and open to the shifts in her personality, interests, or priorities. This kind of flexibility shows that you value her for who she is at every stage of her journey, not just for who she was when you first met her. In essence, respecting a woman's individuality is not just about what you say or do, it's about how you think and feel. It requires a fundamental shift in perspective, one that prioritizes empathy, humility, and genuine appreciation. When you respect a woman for who she is, not as an ideal, not as an extension of yourself, but as her own person, you create a foundation for a relationship that is authentic, supportive, and deeply fulfilling. Avoiding emotional manipulation is one of the most critical aspects of fostering a healthy and respectful relationship. Emotional manipulation involves using tactics such as guilt, fear, deceit, or coercion to control or influence another person's feelings or actions. It is a subtle, insidious behavior that undermines trust and damages the foundation of any connection. A smart man understands that manipulation, whether intentional or subconscious, is a betrayal of the trust and respect that should define any meaningful relationship. To begin with, emotional manipulation often stems from insecurity or a need for control. It can manifest in various ways, such as playing the victim to gain sympathy, withholding affection to punish, or using passive-aggressive behavior to express dissatisfaction. These tactics may achieve short-term results, but they come at a high cost. They erode the emotional safety of the relationship, leaving the other person feeling confused, undervalued, or even trapped. In the long run, manipulation poisons the very connection it seeks to strengthen, leading to resentment and mistrust. A respectful man avoids manipulation by prioritizing transparency and honesty in his communication. Instead of resorting to indirect tactics to get what he wants, he expresses his needs and concerns openly and without judgment. This requires vulnerability and courage, as it involves sharing your true feelings without the guarantee of getting the desired response. However, this approach fosters mutual understanding and allows for genuine resolutions. as opposed to temporary fixes achieved through coercion. Another form of manipulation that must be avoided is the use of guilt as a tool for control. Making someone feel responsible for your happiness or well-being is not only unfair, but also emotionally exhausting for the other person. For instance, statements like, "If you really loved me, you'd do this," place undue pressure on the individual, framing their choices as a test of their feelings. The difficult truth is this: everyone within a circle has feelings of their own. A relationship built on such dynamics is not based on mutual respect, but on an imbalance of power, where one person holds the other emotionally hostage. A smart man recognizes that true affection cannot be coerced or guilted into existence. It must be freely given. Equally damaging is the tendency to exploit vulnerabilities for personal gain. Sharing intimate details or insecurities is an act of trust, and using that information to manipulate someone is a profound violation of that trust. For instance, using a partner's fears or past experiences against them to win arguments or assert dominance is not only cruel, but also deeply damaging. A respectful and emotionally intelligent man safeguards the vulnerabilities shared with him, understanding that this trust is a privilege, not a weapon. Manipulation can also take the form of creating a sense of dependence. This might involve isolating someone from their support network, subtly undermining their confidence, or making them feel incapable of making decisions without guidance. These tactics are particularly harmful because they strip a person of their autonomy and self-worth, making them feel powerless and reliant. A healthy relationship, on the other hand, is built on empowerment and encouragement, where both partners feel supported in their independence and individuality. Avoiding emotional manipulation also means resisting the temptation to control outcomes by twisting reality or facts. Gaslighting, for instance, is a particularly destructive form of manipulation that involves making someone doubt their perceptions, memories, or sanity. Phrases like, "you're overreacting," or "that never happened," can invalidate a person's feelings and experiences, leaving them unsure of their own judgment. A smart man chooses instead to validate and acknowledge the emotions and perspectives of others, even if he disagrees or does not fully understand them. At its core, avoiding emotional manipulation is about fostering an environment of mutual respect and trust. This means recognizing and respecting boundaries, even when it is inconvenient or uncomfortable. It requires self-awareness to identify and correct manipulative tendencies, as well as a commitment to the well-being of the other person. It involves placing the value of the relationship above the desire for immediate gratification or control. Initiative step number 3. When a man avoids manipulation, he lays the groundwork for a relationship where both individuals can thrive. He demonstrates that his care and affection are genuine, not contingent on compliance or submission. He builds a connection that is based on mutual respect, open communication, and shared growth, creating a bond that is resilient and deeply fulfilling. True strength lies not in bending others to your will, but in supporting their freedom and flourishing alongside them. The principle of not overpromising and underdelivering is essential for building trust and maintaining integrity in any relationship. It's a matter of aligning your words with your actions and ensuring that the expectations you set are realistic and attainable. Overpromising often stems from a desire to impress or please, but when promises are not fulfilled, it leaves a trail of disappointment, frustration, and a gradual erosion of trust. A smart man understands the power of his word and uses it responsibly, knowing that his credibility depends on his ability to follow through. At the heart of this concept is honesty. When making commitments, it is vital to be truthful about your capabilities, intentions, and limitations. Overpromising often occurs when you make commitments without fully considering whether you have the resources, time, or energy to fulfill them. It's easy to say yes in the moment, especially when driven by the desire to make someone happy or avoid conflict. However, making a promise is not just about the initial assurance, it's a pledge to take action. Failing to deliver on that pledge doesn't just leave tasks unfinished, it damages the emotional fabric of the relationship. The impact of broken promises goes beyond the immediate disappointment. Each unfulfilled promise chips away at the foundation of trust. When someone hears repeated assurances that never come to fruition, they begin to doubt not only the promises themselves, but also the sincerity of the person making them. This doubt can manifest as skepticism, resentment, and even disengagement, creating a rift that can be difficult to repair. Trust, once broken, requires time and consistent effort to rebuild, making it far better to avoid overpromising in the first place. Managing expectations is a crucial aspect of avoiding this pitfall. It's important to set realistic boundaries about what you can and cannot do. This involves clear and thoughtful communication, where you take the time to assess what's being asked of you and whether it aligns with your capacity. For instance, if you know your schedule is packed, don't promise to dedicate time you don't have. Instead, be upfront about your limitations while expressing your willingness to help within your means. This kind of transparency demonstrates respect for the other person's time and needs, while also showing that you take your commitments seriously. It's equally important to recognize the allure of making grand gestures or declarations. These can feel exciting in the moment, but they come with the implicit expectation of follow-through. A declaration like, "I'll always be there for you no matter what," might feel heartfelt, but unless it's supported by consistent actions, it risks being perceived as empty or performative. Words, no matter how well-intentioned, must be backed by actions to carry real meaning. A smart man knows that understated promises delivered with consistency carry far more weight than grandiose ones that go unfulfilled. Overpromising can also reflect a lack of self-awareness or an unwillingness to confront your own limitations. It's not always easy to admit when something is beyond your ability or capacity, but doing so demonstrates maturity and respect for both yourself and others. Acknowledging your boundaries doesn't make you weak or less dependable. Rather, it shows that you value honesty over the fleeting satisfaction of telling someone what they want to hear. It also sets a precedent for realistic and fair expectations, reducing the likelihood of misunderstandings or disappointments down the line. Fulfilling promises, on the other hand, reinforces trust and strengthens relationships. Each time you follow through on a commitment, no matter how small, you build a reputation for reliability and integrity. This creates a positive cycle, where the other person feels confident in your word, leading to deeper respect and a stronger bond. It also fosters a sense of security, as they know they can rely on you in times of need. This reliability is not about perfection, it's about consistency and effort. Even if things don't go as planned, communicating openly and taking responsibility shows that you take your commitments seriously. In relationships, the consequences of overpromising and underdelivering can be particularly harmful. When someone repeatedly hears assurances that go unfulfilled, they may begin to question your priorities and whether they hold a meaningful place in your life. This can create feelings of neglect or devaluation, as unkept promises often feel like a sign of disregard. On the other hand, being cautious with promises and delivering on them builds a sense of respect and appreciation, showing that you value the other person enough to be honest and dependable. Ultimately, avoiding the habit of overpromising and underdelivering is about fostering trust, respect, and authenticity. It's about valuing your relationships enough to ensure that your words and actions align, even when it means having difficult conversations or acknowledging your limits. By doing so, you demonstrate not only your reliability but also your respect for the time, feelings, and expectations of those you care about. 11,400. Invitation makers. A smart man understands that promises are not to be made lightly. They are commitments that shape the integrity of his character and the strength of his relationships. Never dismissing a woman's dreams or feelings is a principle rooted in respect, empathy, and genuine care. Dreams and feelings are deeply personal. They form the essence of who a person is. To disregard them is not only to overlook her individuality, but to undermine her sense of self-worth. A smart man recognizes the importance of acknowledging and supporting these aspects of her identity, as doing so builds trust, fosters intimacy, and strengthens the foundation of any relationship. Dismissing someone's dreams, whether intentionally or inadvertently, can have a profound impact. Dreams are not just abstract ideas. They are a reflection of a person's passions, values, and aspirations. When a woman shares her goals, she is inviting you into a vulnerable part of her world, trusting that you will honor her vision and perhaps even support it. To belittle or ignore these aspirations, whether by calling them unrealistic, trivial, or unimportant, is to dismiss an essential part of her. Such actions can leave her feeling invalidated, disheartened, and misunderstood. Over time, repeated dismissals can lead her to doubt herself and question whether she is truly valued in the relationship. The same holds true for her feelings. Emotions are not always easy to articulate, and when someone opens up about what they're experiencing, it's an act of courage and trust. To brush aside her emotions with phrases like, "You're overreacting," "It's not a big deal," or "Why are you so sensitive?" is not just dismissive, it's invalidating. These responses send a message that her emotional experiences are unimportant or exaggerated, which can create a sense of isolation and frustration. Over time, this pattern can erode her confidence in expressing herself, leading to emotional distance and resentment. Acknowledging her dreams and feelings doesn't mean you have to agree with every sentiment or share the same aspirations. It's not about validating everything she says or does without question, but about showing that you value her perspective and care about her emotional well-being. Active listening plays a critical role here. When she speaks about her goals or emotions, give her your full attention. Respect the concerns she is advocating. Make it clear for her when she speaks, and make sure you understand. Set aside distractions and show genuine interest. Ask questions, seek to understand, and reflect on what she's sharing. This not only demonstrates respect, but also helps you gain deeper insight into her world. Support is another vital aspect. Supporting her dreams doesn't necessarily mean you have to take on her goals as your own, but it does mean encouraging her efforts and celebrating her achievements. Whether her dream is to advance in her career, start a new hobby, or embark on a life-changing journey, your role is to be her ally, not her critic. Even if her aspirations seem ambitious or unfamiliar to you, approach them with an open mind and a willingness to learn. Offer encouragement, lend a helping hand when appropriate, and be a source of positivity as she works toward her goals. The same applies to her feelings. Supporting her emotions doesn't mean you have to solve every problem or agree with every reaction. Sometimes it's enough to simply be present and empathetic. If she's upset, instead of offering quick fixes or minimizing her concerns, take the time to understand what she's feeling and why. Acknowledge her emotions as valid, even if they don't align with your own perspective. This kind of emotional support shows that you value her inner world and are willing to stand by her, even in moments of vulnerability. Avoiding dismissiveness also involves self-awareness. Reflect on how your own biases or assumptions might influence your reactions to her dreams or feelings. For instance, societal expectations or ingrained stereotypes might lead you to unconsciously devalue certain aspirations or emotions. Recognizing and challenging these biases is an important step toward being a more supportive and understanding partner. Furthermore, it's important to recognize that dreams and feelings are not static. They evolve over time. A woman's aspirations may shift as she grows and experiences new things, just as her emotions will change with the circumstances of life. Dismissing these changes as inconsistent or unrealistic is not only unfair, but also a failure to appreciate her capacity for growth. Instead, embrace these shifts as part of her journey and adapt your support to meet her where she is. When you consistently validate her dreams and feelings, you create a safe and nurturing environment where she feels empowered to express herself fully. This sense of safety is essential for building trust and intimacy, as it shows that you value her not just for what she does or how she makes you feel, but for who she truly is. It also encourages mutual openness. as your willingness to respect and support her invites her to do the same for you. Dismissing her dreams or feelings, on the other hand, has the opposite effect. It creates barriers, fosters misunderstandings, and diminishes the emotional connection between you. Over time, these barriers can lead to resentment, disillusionment, and even the breakdown of the relationship. Respecting and supporting her, however, strengthens the bond and fosters a sense of partnership where both individuals feel valued and understood. Ultimately, honoring a woman's dreams and feelings is about recognizing her humanity. It's about seeing her as a whole person with her own experiences, aspirations, and emotions, and treating those aspects of her with the respect they deserve. A smart man knows that by valuing her dreams and feelings, he not only nurtures her sense of self, but also enriches the relationship, creating a bond that is rooted in mutual understanding, empathy, and love. Communication is the cornerstone of any successful relationship, and neglecting it can lead to misunderstandings, resentment, and a breakdown of trust. To avoid this, a man must actively prioritize open, honest, and consistent communication. This doesn't just mean talking frequently, but also creating a space where both partners feel heard, respected, and valued. When communication is neglected, even small issues can fester and grow into significant problems, eroding the foundation of the relationship. Effective communication starts with listening, not just hearing the words, but genuinely understanding the emotions and intentions behind them. It's about giving your full attention when she speaks, without interrupting or planning your response while she's still talking. True listening requires presence and patience, demonstrating that you value what she has to say and are invested in understanding her perspective. This simple act of attentiveness fosters trust and helps build a deeper emotional connection.